Let's look at how financial advisors can become better at our craft and then also improve our business using 5 concepts from the book, The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. Now, these concepts in the book, they're related to how we can better serve our clients and then how to communicate better as well, and then how to create a successful financial planning strategy. I'll go over some of the top takeaways that I got and a lesson that I'm going to share and tell you really a story about how I was able to use it in a conversation with a prospective client to help them see and make the right decision. It's actually one of my favorite moments of the last month, so I'll share it with you coming up. It's a powerful technique that you can use actually with your next conversation with a client or a prospect, so don't miss it. But first, welcome back to the channel, and if I haven't met you yet, I'm Dave, and I own Streamline Financial. It's an advisory firm. I own that with Tim. And if you haven't yet, and if you're an advisor, subscribe if you want to get more growth strategies or practice management ideas from actual advisors who have done it before. So let's get into lesson number 1. It's related to the power of time. Because time, the quote is, time is the friend of the wonderful company and the enemy of the mediocre. I actually think that was a Buffett quote in the book. But I'll share how to apply this first to younger clients and then how to apply it to older clients near retirement, or at least how we're doing it. So this quote, it highlights really the power of time and when it comes to investing and wealth creation. And when speaking to younger clients, we've seen the charts and examples of how just a few years difference in extra savings or starting a little bit earlier can compound and really make a huge impact on the end result. Well, it's also useful to remind our older clients about short-term thinking versus long-term thinking, like that Carl Richards sketch of 5 days compared to 5 years. And remember, as financial advisors, one of the greatest values to clients is to just remind them of the right concepts that have worked over time, right? It's that weighty evidence of history that has worked over time. But also, this same thing to be applied to older clients in a different way. It's common for us to bring up with clients who are retired or are going into retirement, about to retire, that time doesn't always equal money, right? We know the saying of time is money and time is money, but really time to them and to everyone should be infinitely greater than money, especially as you get older, and then that scarcity of time gets more and more real every year. This is helpful to talk to clients because they know, especially DIY investors or do-it-yourself planners, doing it themselves, they can really learn all the investment strategies and all the planning strategies and monitor and adjust and do the tax loss harvesting or whatever it is that they're doing, or they can hire a professional so that they can spend their time doing what they truly enjoy. Now, another lesson from the book is in kind of a similar vein, and that is the dangers of short-term thinking. The quote from the book is, "Our emotions drive our decisions about money, but our emotions are terrible at telling us what's good for us in the long run." That's the full quote. And this really just highlights the dangers of short-term thinking and the benefits of long-term thinking. So advisors can use this lesson to educate clients on the importance of having that long-term financial plan and avoiding impulsive financial decisions driven by short-term emotions or short-term things happening in the news right now. And one of the best ways to do this is really just through awareness. Early in the relationship, we remind our clients and we draw a picture of how every financial decision is part an emotional one, but then also financial. And we live at the intersection of those two. We can explain the straight financial results of a decision, but we also know that sometimes it doesn't matter that much. And reminding clients of this can be helpful during scary markets or big decision, helps them zoom out and really think about their next best step. But before I get into the next one, quick question. Do you like these sorts of book summaries and applying it to financial advisors or what we're doing? If you do, leave a comment below so that I know that you do, and then I'll make more of them in the future. Or recommend certain books out there for summaries. And I've probably read them. If not, I enjoy reading. So yeah, let me know about them in the comments below. Now, another lesson from this Psychology of Money book was on the topic of psychological biases that we have. This is lesson 3. And the quote is, "We like to think about our decisions and decisions about money based on rational thought, but oftentimes that's not the case." This is related to the previous lesson. The quote's really highlighting that psychological biases that influence financial decisions, such as like the overconfidence bias or loss aversion, they're incredibly strong factors into the decisions to make financial decisions. And advisors can use this lesson in this book to encourage clients to think critically about financial decisions and avoid letting emotions drive their choices. So again, 2 and 3 were kind of related, but so important. The next lesson is, I'd say this is number 4, and it's the importance of diversification, which we hear before. The important thing here is not just to state the facts, but to use stories in the book to encourage and adopt a well-diversified portfolio and why that's so important, and really how to avoid making hasty decisions during ups and downs. So it's all about stories. One of the most powerful things we can utilize in our conversations is that powerful story, or the anecdote. This is so big. Just that kind of communication goes a lot farther than just straight facts and figures and charts, right? You already know this. Having examples or stories, we have probably 5 or 10 stories, 5 to 10 that we kind of have in our quiver, or whatever you want to call it, of frequent things that happens, that questions clients bring up, or worries or concerns. And these stories can really, I'll tell you about one coming up pretty soon. They can really hit home with people. As an example, kind of an anecdote or thinking about the past, just the last few years, back in 2021, clients asking about Bitcoin a lot, or talking about small cap tech stocks a lot, or some of the meme stocks. Now those may fit into a portfolio, and they might fit into a portfolio, but a lot of the people that we're talking to were thinking about allocating bigger percentages, or just thinking, should we be doing something more with these, having more exposure. So there was actually a prospective client who called me not long ago. This is a good story, and kind of there's something that I say often here, which you should use too, or I'd recommend it. But he called, and he had over $5 million, and he was invested 100% into one stock, high growth tech stock. And it's a good company. And the interesting thing he said was he didn't want any tax planning, he didn't want any investment help. He just wanted tax planning and withdrawal strategy. Don't talk about investments. I got that figured out, is kind of what he was saying. Now, I wasn't going to convince him on this first phone call to think about changing his investment plan. So all I did was just tell him an anecdote about someone other than him, a story about somebody else. And a little later in the conversation, I said, a lot of clients come to us, and they're starting to do some research and looking into more of the tax planning and the income planning, kind of like you are, and maybe investment strategy. But as they start looking at this and the retirement strategies, they begin to realize what it took to be successful the last 30 years of their financial life looks a little bit different now moving into the next 20 years, right? It's not just about the savings rate or accumulation or growth, right? It's more about, how do I pay the least amount of taxes with my withdrawal strategy, and how do I add more certainty, maybe, or more predictability to the next 20 or 30 years as I start to make withdrawals. So that was kind of the story I said, and he said, oh yeah, I see how it is different. Or I see what you're saying, something like that. But I think it was kind of that plant the seed moment. Maybe something stuck with him. Again, I wasn't going to convince him to not be 100% in this one stock yet, but this was a good moment because I wasn't condemning him or saying all the problems with what he was doing. I was just telling a true example or story of what other people have done. That's powerful. If you like this video, let me know by clicking the like button and subscribing. And if you're an advisor who wants some special videos that are nowhere else on YouTube or anywhere else, check out the weekly newsletter below. That's my weekly newsletter that I'll send out. And there's some private videos in there that are helpful for advisors. Again, I'm Dave Zoller, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.